Yo, what's up everyone? Kevin here. We're up here in Whitewater Resort in BC. And in this video, I've got some tips for free riding in some off-piste trees, flowy pow runs. So I'll give you guys some tips so you can ride these runs better. Let's go. The first thing you want to do is really scan ahead and look for all the undulations, the trees. This way you can like plan your line where you're gonna go. So right now, I'm just trying to weave my way through trees and obviously avoid riding into them, but also trying to keep my speed up, so that I can get through the pow and ride through this stuff safely. Oh, there are so many like pillows through here. This is wild. Woo. So coming down through there, I was making a plan, avoiding the trees, seeing where I need to keep my speed up, but also trying to avoid any like drops to like a flat or a ditch. And I think it worked out pretty well. So the next thing you really want to exaggerate is bending your knees. So through free ride conditions, you're gonna get all kinds of bumps and undulations. So bending your knees and absorbing all that stuff is gonna keep you riding that much more confident. Woo! So we got tons of bumps through here, little drop right here. I'm gonna head off this drop, but I'm really gonna use my knees to absorb it and just ride right through. Using your knees helps you to really be able to just ride anything, absorb it, and continue on. The next thing I'm thinking about and really exaggerating is where I'm gonna slow myself down. So this was a tight little corridor. So being in control on my toes is really coming into play. And then down here, can open it up for sure. And every turn, I'm trying to mitigate my speed, control it so that I'm going where I want and feeling in control. So that's super important that as you go along, not only scrubbing speed where you want, but looking to see where you can actually pick up speed as well. So these little turns, heels and toes, gets you through some tight spots. Planning helps you know where to do it, and then using your knees can help you pump through. So on the safety side of free riding too, always ride with a friend. We got Chris here helping the film, and just like we're looking out for each other. And then also just knowing where you're going. So when we dropped into these trees, we knew that it's gonna come out to a run on this side. Your board setup really helps with free riding as well. So my board, I got the K2 excavator. So really fun free ride pow board. It's got a slight notched out tail, making the tail sink better in pow, allowing you to like float so much easier. But also I've got my stance set up a bit more to the back as well. With a stance to the back, you can pivot your tail much easier. And then having a larger nose just helps it to float too. And this is a wider and bigger board than I'm used to riding. So this is a 162 wide, and having that extra surface area, I find riding through steep stuff, big bowls, it just helps you to stay in control and you feel a lot more confident on a board that's a bit stiffer and a bit bigger than you're used to. So if you're out riding a small park board and trying to free ride, it's gonna be that much harder. Or if you get like an all mountain or like a free ride or even pow board, then that makes it a lot easier. The main thing about free riding is really that everything needs to be exaggerated. So whether it's your plan or using your knees, and one thing you really want to exaggerate is staying stacked over top of your snowboard. Because if you start to lean out too far over your toes or too far back over your heels or forward and back over your nose or tail, you're gonna lose it and kind of wipe out. So having your balance centered, bending your knees, and just kind of like moving your board underneath you will really help you to like keep your balance and keep you upright more often. So this is something that I really try to exaggerate. Back straight, knees bent, and just keeping my board underneath me. And if you do something like go too far over your toes, it's gonna cause you to slide out. So not only do you wanna exaggerate being stacked over your board, but using your knees, making your plan, controlling your speed, all these things go together to make you a better free ride snowboarder. You also want to be in control with your upper body too. So keeping everything relatively lined up. So I think a lot about my backhand over my tail, with your shoulders lined up with your hips and your board, everything is just gonna feel more balanced. If you start to get too twisted up, then that's when you can kind of lose your balance, being overly twisted. So thinking about your shoulders square to your hips and your board, backhand over your tail, and almost like using your front shoulder like a guide. That will really help you to steer through some of this and just stay more balanced in general. A couple of the biggest mistakes you want to avoid in free riding. The first one is probably just riding with too much speed. So if you get too ambitious, you're flying through stuff that you're not comfortable with, that's when you can start to make some mistakes, or just riding in terrain that you're not comfortable with. So for us, we rode through that upper section maybe 4 or 5 times in the last few days. So the more you ride through somewhere, the more you get used to it, and then that gives you more confidence as well. And the final mistake is just riding solo through dangerous terrain. You always want to ride with friends, you keep an eye on each other and then keep each other safe, because there are hazards out here that can be deadly. So the safer you can be riding with friends is super important. If you found these tips helpful, subscribe here to Snowboard Pro Kit. I'll put a link to some of my free riding gear down below in the description. Thanks for watching, have fun with this snowboarding, be safe, catch you in the next video.